Ladies and gentlemen, my next guest tonight is a former Fox News host and current activist in the fight to stop sexual harassment. Please welcome Gretchen Carlson. Well, thanks so much for being here.
Of course.
One of the nice things about doing this show now, after doing my old show for 10 years in character, is that I get to sit down and have nice conversations with people I made so many jokes about in the old days.
I was so happy to oblige to give you so much material to work with.
You're most welcome. You talk a little smack about me, but this show is like America. Everybody comes together, and now we are friends.
Oh, yes. Well, I'm glad to know that we are now.
We are. And I want to thank you for writing this book.
Thanks.
It's called Be Fierce. And it is how to stop sexual harassment.
Thank you.
How to stop harassment and take your power back. You absolutely were and are fierce in what you have done. It was a year and a half ago that you brought your suit publicly against Roger Ailes.
Yeah, it's a date you never forget, July 6, 2016.
It really did change a lot, not just in media, but in the United States. When I heard that you had done this, I thought, oh my God, she must have something on this man, because people forget now because Ailes is no longer with us and his fall was so precipitous, but he was a very powerful and dangerous man in the media industry especially. Mm-hmm. What did you think was going to happen when you opened your mouth over this thing this abuse that you were holding on to?
Probably the most powerful person in media. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's an excruciating choice for any woman to make this kind of decision. Mm-hmm. Because before the environment of what we're in right now, you're automatically called a liar, not to be believed, worse. Mm-hmm. You know, you just can't take a joke. Mm-hmm. And so this was really an excruciating choice for me to make, and to decide that I would do something that might not be good for my children. I mean, that would be the most paramount. You're a dad. Mm-hmm. It's like, do you do something like this? Mm-hmm. How are your kids going to fare from this? But in the end, I did this for all the other women across America who have faced similar indignities.
I mean, given the present climate, it's easy for people to forget that when you first did this, you were attacked. People were saying, oh, she's just doing this to further her career, or because she was feeling marginalized by Roger or something like that, that there were ulterior motives you had, that this couldn't be the truth.
Uh-huh. Yeah, because so many women want to come forward with sexual harassment claims to be famous and make money. I've never, ever heard of one woman wanting to do that. You know, the barrage that
But it's not an uncommon accusation.
It's an accusation, and these are the myths that I go through in the book. Here's what I think's happened now, Stephen, is that, thank God, more women are being fierce, and they have found the courage from within and the bravery to come forward and say, me too. And they're saying they're not going to put up with this crap anymore.
Well...
And if I had anything to do with that, I am eternally grateful. If I gave the courage to one person to come forward and be fierce, then my mission has been accomplished.
Well, I cannot speak for the people who came forward. I can't, of course, speak for the people who came forward and their motivations or how you might have influenced them, but I think it's undeniable that the fact that you came forward and were proven right was a chink in the armor of a silence that surrounds powerful men.
It's so true because, you know, especially with settlement agreements, the women are gagged forever from saying what happened to them.
You can't talk about it, right?
I can't talk about it, but my complaint is public for anyone who wants to Google it, so go ahead and do that.
So you can't say anything, but I could go online now.
You can go online and find out all the salacious details, but here's the important point. I got a public apology. That never happens in a settlement agreement. And to me, that apology was for all of the other women in America and across the world, to let them know that if you stand up and you speak up, that you will be heard.
Well, now we've seen the fall of Harvey Weinstein, Bill O'Reilly, Roger Ailes, Roy Price, Terry Richardson, James Toback, the director. Of course, our president has many accusations against him. Do you believe the women who have accused the president of this kind of abuse?
So, in fact, I feature one of the women who accused President Trump in my book, Be Fierce, because I thought it was so important to give those women voice. You know,
So you do believe them?
I do believe that Natasha Stoyanov, who I feature in the book, who is the People magazine reporter, you know, she tells her story in the book. Look, those stories went away pretty quickly. What's changed in our culture, which is amazing because cultural shifts take a long time to change, in just 15 months, all these women who are coming forward now, their stories are still in the news. That is absolutely amazing that we're not discounting them anymore. And men are coming forward too. This is not just a woman's issue. But we need men to help us. So I hope you're going to join my Be Fierce movement.
I would love to know more about it, but I assume if it's what I think it is, of course.
It just means coming forward and helping women.
Well, you can't talk about what happened to you at Fox News or your settlement. You can't talk about your time at Fox News. Can you talk about that?
But it doesn't matter because I can talk about the issue.
It matters to a certain extent because I'm curious about what your time was like there. Because you're a Stanford grad who also studied at Oxford while you were at Stanford. You were a high school valedictorian. You're a classical violinist. You're a deeply intelligent, well-educated woman who works someplace that from the outside really seemed fiercely anti-intellectual, anti-expert. And how did it feel to carry water for know-nothings? As such an intelligent person, I have a friend who had the exact same situation as yours, exactly the same as yours in every way. What do you imagine she felt about her situation?
Well, to the extent that people can be brainwashed within corporate cultures and become part of a cult, you know, that can happen to people, and I'm sure it happens actually here. Does it ever happen here?
I can only say that if you say the trigger word.
Okay. But on a more serious level, here's why settlements should not be secret anymore.
Okay.
Because we have decided as a society that we're going to silence women, and that's wrong.
And that's what NDAs do for the most part.
Every company, you know what they should be doing right now? Instead of talking about hiring back serial predators, they should be talking about hiring back all the women who've lost their jobs as a result of having the bravery for coming forward about sexual harassment.
That's true. But do you, and I know we've got to go, but I just wanted, before we go, to ask you, given what has happened, given what's happened to Harvey Weinstein, given the proof of your allegations, the fact you got a public apology, do you imagine that there's any world in which, if you said something about your time at Fox News, that the News Corp would come after you? Wouldn't that be the dumbest thing they could possibly do? Do you really think that they would lift one finger to call a lawyer to come after you?
I have no idea. But all I know is that I'm on a mission to continue this fight. I'm on Capitol Hill to change the laws, to take the secrecy away so that women have a voice. I've started a fund, Gift of Courage, to empower women and girls financially so that they can have the resources that I had, but they may not, to do this fight. And so my mission right now is really about all the other women. It's pervasive in our society, and I want to help them because I have a 12-year-old son and a 14-year-old daughter, and I don't want them to face the same indignities that I have faced, ever. And I don't think anyone watching wants that for our kids.
Well, that's a fight worth having. The book is Be Fierce. The woman is Gretchen Carlson, everybody. We'll be right back with a performance by Adam Savage and Michael Stevens.